Malachi channel. Thanks for stopping by. If this is your first time, welcome. Glad you can be here. Today I'm checking out an M9 track like I promised. The track is called Dark Matter. This was requested all the way back 5 months ago and requested a few times since then. It just for whatever reason has fallen off my radar. He's got a couple cats on this track, man. Cyrus Malachi. I probably just murdered that. Malachi maybe. And Masikah. Could have got that one wrong too. If I did, I apologize. Don't hate me. Anyways, I'm gonna jump into this track, give it a listen, and see what it's all about.
Stage of the dark matter, reread the page of the last days and revelate the Luciferian age and break the attributes of a slave and form together like the gases of the sun, uniting forces as one. The triple stage of the dark matter, reread the page of the last days to revelate the Luciferian age and break the attributes of a slave and form together like the gases of the sun, uniting forces as one.
Just gonna stop it here before we get too far. I really like that, man. Like, breaking the attributes of a slave who form together like gas that come together as one. I mean, that's a friggin' pretty deep bar, man, on that hook. You get a sense. I'm getting a sense of what this track's going to be about. So let's keep going.
To break the attributes of a slave and form together like the gases of the sun, uniting forces as one. When I'm dead, Canaanites would acknowledge my chromosomes like fossils and stones. Another brother shot from a chrome, crops of unknown haze linger around the block from a smoke. His younger lungs choked, hustled with the hunger for growth. My black rose stuck in a black hole. She's fascinated by whoever wants to let.
Man, he's coming out hard on this, man. He's basically saying, years from now, when they dig up the fossils, they're going to find, his bones just another brother, that was extinguished, taken down, killed by the chrome, and then there's all these young cats on the block with smoke in their lungs, getting high, with their mind is only set on making the cash. It's kind of that cycle that perpetuates. It just keeps going, and he says that my brothers are trapped in a black hole. I'm guessing that's kind of what he's talking about. There's like this black hole that very difficult to get out of, and like I said, man, on that hook, I could already tell that this song was going to be pretty deep and have a pretty a tone and a message, that was gonna be pretty deep. So I'm just gonna bring it back here. I want to catch the beginning of this again. Sorry, a little bit more.
The dark matter, reread the page of the last days to revelate the Luciferian age and break the attributes of a slave and form together like the gases of the sun, uniting forces as one. When I'm dead, Canaanites would acknowledge my chromosomes like fossils and stones. Another brother shot from a chrome, crops of unknown haze linger around the block from a smoke. His younger lungs choked, hustled with the hunger for growth. My black rose stuck in a black hole. She's fascinated by whoever wants to.
Sorry, I apologize again. So I say hunger for growth. So maybe I caught that wrong the first time. So, I mean, I guess that could be both ways. It can be hunger for, making more bank, or it could be hunger for getting out of the situation and growth and becoming, becoming the person they want to be rather than being stuck in this black hole.
With the hunger for growth, my black rose stuck in a black hole. She's fascinated by whoever wants to let the strap blow. We counter that though, and regulate the earth's weight in gold like Enki. I meditate to travel your mind to the waters of Euphrates. I draw the sword of a warlord and pierce his chakras. I read so many chapters of black shackle from Africa's forgotten massacres. Now we're shutting, plotting inhabitants, dilapidated labyrinths for Africans.
He's talking about, he's educated himself. He's got his face in those books, man. He's learning history. He's filling his mind. He's educating himself. and he's read about the horrors and the history of slavery from Africa, and he's using this. He wants to use this like as a sword and piercing people's chakras, open their minds. That's how I take it, like opening the mind, because you got your crown chakra, and open your mind to what's happening. And meanwhile, these atrocities, these massacres have been forgotten and swept under the rug, and instead they're out here selling drugs and committing crime, killing each other, selling drugs, and all this other horrible history is being ignored in order to do these things.
Got a massacres, now we're shutting, plotting inhabitants, dilapidated labyrinths for Africans, polished clips in this golden metropolis, democracy's on its trick. We never gave a fuck who they elect as one government. I traveled to Sahara continents and witnessed UFOs and aeronautical modes.
Sorry, I know I paused this. This is a minute and a half, and not even a minute and a half, and I paused it a lot, but he touches on the fact that building these, I think they're, I can't remember exactly what he calls it, over estate homes, I think is what someone had mentioned a while ago on a different track. These projects, these estate homes, they're living this lie. People are looking out, seeing this, the capitalism, the way society is. It's always giving you, like over here, you always hear about the American dream. I don't know if you heard about the American dream, but obviously you have. But like, it's always about that. They always give you this thing where they dangle the apple a little bit, or dangle the carrot, and it's, for a lot of people, for most people, it is a lie, especially people who are put in a situation where it's meant to make them fail.
There's one government. I traveled to Sahara continents and witnessed UFOs and aeronautical modes, leaving the globe prominent. Triple stage of the dark matter. We read the page of the last days and revelate the Luciferian age and break the attributes of a slave and form together like the gases of the sun, uniting forces as one. The triple stage of the dark matter. We read the page of the last days to revelate the Luciferian age and break the attributes of a slave and form together like the gases of the sun, uniting forces as one.
I'm from Crackney, where the black kids live off latchkeys and harbor dreams to stack cheese. Only half graduate from the street academies that used to act as savagery, immersed in the malady, searching for sanctuary. Every verse I
So he says living on latchkeys, and I'm wondering, like, for us over here, latchkey, we're kind of like kids who were raised with one parent, or parents that were working in double jobs or whatever. You had the latchkey. You kind of just left to raise yourself, and I'm wondering if that's what he's kind of getting at the opening of this track, or opening of this verse. They say something about they're searching for sanctuary. I gotta bring it back, Beer Man. This friggin' track is so deep. It's so hard to catch everything.
latch keys and harbor dreams to stack cheese. Only half graduate from the street academies.
Right. Only half graduate from the street academies. So I mean that. I guess I could look at that both ways. That the public schools and stuff fail. They call them public schools over there. Anyways, the public funded schools, man, they fail. The people in these neighborhoods, they fail to do their job for these people. But they could also be the fact that in the street academies, it could also mean they fail the test of living on the street as a hustler, as a gangbanger, as a guy selling drugs or whatever. That only half of them fail that, meaning half of them are killed or shot or arrested, put to jail.
Keys and harbor dreams to stack cheese. Only half graduate from the street academies that used to act as savagery, immersed in the malady, searching for sanctuary. Every verse I spit shrapnel grammatically. Life's tragedies captured panoramically, focused to the point of my pen, like the cherry on the L skin. In my ends, niggas feel the force of hell's winds. 12 sins, no repentance, co-defendants running.
Sorry. All right, guys. Give me a second. Just gonna bring it back a little bit.
Panoramically focused to the point of my pen, like the cherry on an L skin. In my ends, niggas feel the force of hell's winds. 12 sins, no repentance. Co-defendants running concurrent on the sentence. Mrs. Daughter's 5th birthday. Why we live the worst way? Burner spray, moving working yay. Memoirs of a slave stolen from Tamaray. In these dystopias.
And I have to admit, I got to bring this back because the interruption of the dog kind of got me off track. But I want to hear that again. I got to catch all of it. It's not fair if I don't.
Tragedies captured panoramically, focused to the point of my pen, like the cherry on an L skin. In my ends, niggas feel the force of hell's winds. 12 sins, no repentance. Co-defendants running concurrent on the sentence. Mrs. Daughter's 5th birthday. Why we live the worst way? Burner spray, moving working yay. Memoirs of a slave stolen from Tamaray. In these dystopian days, I refocus my gaze on the baby mother. Tears splash off a seed's face. Coke inside the briefcase. Bodies going missing without a trace. 1 week later, police identify the deceased. Some others' heart breaks and turns cold like stone columns. Now she sat sullen, dressed in black beside an old coffin, pleading with the most high, while the chrome popping. Niggas stay rubbing, king shutting, exploits of the downtrodden, flowers blossom, but the girl always turns them rotten. The girl always turns them rotten.
Man, what a friggin' line. Flowers blossom, but the ghetto always turns them rotten. My goodness, man. And that whole last part about this, again, the cycle continuing, and so many kids are left to be raised without a father, whether because he's dead or in jail. Mothers have to bury their children, and left only to ask. And it takes so long for the cops to find them because they don't really matter. And, you know, a mother's left asking God, why did they have to take her son? But then the cycle repeats, and they're still out there slanging cane and rock. And that line, man, that friggin' flowers blossom, but the ghetto turns them rotten. Like, that friggin' line is absolutely magnificent. Like, it's one of the most amazing written bars I have ever heard. Like, just think about that. Flowers blossom, but the ghetto turns them rotten. That means, you know, you got these seeds being born. They are this perfect flower that could blossom and bloom into something beautiful and amazing. And they have the entire life ahead of them. And then the ghetto just turns them rotten. It gets into their roots, it destroys them, but whether that life is cut short through going to jail or murder or whatever it is, but all that beauty, all that, what a flower is beautiful, and all that beauty is never all that beauty. You know, it's not realized. It's just rotten. Man, that's what an outstanding bar, man. Powerful.
But the girl always turns them rotten. The girl always turns them rotten.
From triple stage of the dark matter, we read the page of the last days and revelate the Luciferian age and break the attributes of a slave and form together like the gases of the sun, uniting forces as one. From triple stage of the dark matter, we read the page of the last days to revelate the Luciferian age and break the attributes of a slave and form together like the gases of the sun.
I decipher your artistry, brought clarity to what was hard to see. A part of me sharded by larceny. I craft odyssey deeper than Scientology. Laboratories performing experimental monopolies on project properties. Advertising a sodomy philosophy. The populace practicing pagan mythology.
He's talking about you know, what do you say? Get it out, Joe. Get it out of your mouth. Basically, what he's saying is these projects and stuff are used as experimental locations to get these drugs out from actual companies who are creating these drugs, getting them out there on the streets and using these projects and the people who live in those projects as mice, basically. I don't know why that was so hard to get out the first time. But again, like that's...
Uncroft odyssey deeper than Scientology. Laboratories performing experimental monopolies on project properties. Advertising a sodomy philosophy. The populace practicing pagan mythology. Her brains are scraping our naked psychology. Who further scrutinize Western ideology? Blocks clock with peeps who hustle rocks to eat. The muscle is heat. Away I possibly is fossil. Deep coppers creep. Watch me copper heat. It's authority. A Glock 9 was spot mine with prophecy. They ain't trying to keep the streets clean. So I correlate minds like planets aligned to stop the beast instead of popping keys. Breaking the pieces of beef for you.
He said they don't want to keep the streets clean, so he's trying to like align. There's no drive to fix what's being broken, so he's trying to align like the planets coming together in order to get the message out, to make people understand. I think that's what he's getting at with this.
Correlate minds like planets aligned to stop the beast instead of popping keys. Breaking the pieces of beef used to shut the streets. Only cements the throne of hypocrisy. Who claim to govern properly but profit from popping of poppy trees. It's commodity, by the time it hits the block we chop it and breeze. Escaping solitary puff.
Kind of going back to that part where using the projects as a place to experiment with drugs. Talking about poppies on the poppy trees. They're the ones collecting the poppies and making the money off the poppies, and then they give it to the people in the projects who chop it, bring it out, put it out on the street.
Pin of poppy trees, it's commodity. By the time it hits the block, we chop it and breeze. Escaping solitary, puffing on chemical green, melodically. Confined our minds demonically, that's why I got to speak. My pen explodes like look.
So basically what he's saying there is that so many people they just fill their mind constantly with weed, and to the point where they're almost demonic in their thinking and are single-minded in their thinking. I'm thinking that's what he means by that anyways. I'm gonna catch that.
Streets only cements the throne of hypocrisy. Who claim to govern properly but profit from popping of poppy trees. It's commodity, by the time it hits the block we chop it and breeze. Escaping solitary, puffing on chemical green, melodically. Confined our minds demonically, that's why I got to speak. My pen explodes like look could be across these rotten streets. This doctrine's deeply encrusted with jewels I drop on beats.
Man, that's a friggin' deep song to end a Friday or end a week. Oh, man. It's a trend that I'm seeing a lot in these, now that I'm doing these reactions, is a lot of the things that these artists, issues and stuff these artists were speaking about 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 years ago, man. Nothing's changed. It's exactly the same. And you know, these guys here on this track are trying to shed some light on that, and about you know, trying to align people's minds, open up people's minds, get them to see the truth of what's really happening. Freaking the Coops track that I did yesterday, the exact same thing, about, you know, opening up your mind and really see what's happening around you. Otherwise, you can remain doing what you're doing and gleefully ignorant, but be prepared to pay the fine. Because living this way isn't free, is basically what they're saying. And this song is all about that perpetual cycle, man. I grew up in a neighborhood, and it's the same thing. Very, very, very few of us went to college. You know, I had friends whose parents were in the system, and they just living their life out on the system. They've done nothing to move themselves forward, but also there's a lot of roadblocks thrown up, making it more difficult to find your way out. So, but yeah, man, this song is great. It's important. The lyrics are great, and you know, they go deep into a vein that remains there even all these years. Nothing seems to be changing. Appreciate everyone who's asked for M9. The dude is an amazing lyricist. It's unfortunate that he doesn't get the attention that he should. But until next time, stay safe and be good to each other.